Hi everyone, it's Mike here. It's December already, which means it's time for a brand new mission on the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. So as per usual, I will put a link to our Facebook group on the screen now and also in the description area below this video if you want to join in and take part this month. So as per usual, I will play you the mission brief for December and then I will jump straight into my project and I'll join with you again right back at the end. Welcome, Art Agent Specialists. Your mission for December, should you wish to accept it, is as follows. Step 1. Cover your page with patterned papers. Step 2. Add a thin wash of white paint or gesso. Step 3. Stamp text or images all over your page. Step 4. Add paint or colour with your fingers. Step 5. Add one or more seasonal focal images. Step 6. Add some gold bling, paint, flake or glitter. Step 7. Add journaling, a quote or a phrase. And finally, step 8. Finish with a border or frame of your choice. Your suggested colour scheme for December is berry red, holly green and gold. And your words for inspiration are escape, dream, comfort, winter and shine. Remember, this message will self-destruct in 3 seconds. Good luck. So the first thing I've done for December's mission inspiration is print off the mission brief, which you can find on the Facebook group, and also you can find a copy of it on my blog for you to print off and use as you wish. You can use it to print off or you can use it in your videos or your own blog posts if you want to. There's no restrictions at all. So I've printed it off on my inkjet paper and I'm going to begin with step number 1, and this is my small Dilutions art journal. This is the 5x8, the small one. So the first thing is to, step number 1 I should say, is to cover the page with patterned papers. Okay, so let's just pop that to one side. Now I've got my Ranger Collage glue stick, which I've taken the lid off already, and I've gone through my collection of papers that I've got and pulled out some papers which I think have the necessary colours that I want to use. So as you can see, I've got some nice kind of darkish greeny colours which I'm going to use to stick down up there. I have some kind of natural coloured ones which I've already ripped that I'm going to stick down towards the bottom to kind of build up a bit of a pattern. I've got a few red strips, some red gingham strips, and I've also got some like book text or handwriting text, which I'm also going to use at the top up there. So that's what I'm going to use to kind of build up the page using those papers. So first thing I'm going to do, just pull them all to one side. Now, I've done it quite roughly. So first thing we're going to do is just cut them down to the right side. Now I've got my paper trimmer here somewhere. So I know that that is about 5 inches. So I can just trim that off. So that's not far wrong. And I can do the same to this one. And then at the top, again, just trim that down to 5. And then I can do the same thing with that one. But I don't want all of that. I only want about 2 inches at the top. So I'm going to trim that down to 2. And I'm going to do the same thing about there. So they're all bits of spare. Now at the bottom, again, I only want about 2 or 3 inches. It's actually, let's say 2.5. So let's strip that and then cut that to 5, doing a lot of the hard work beforehand. Oh, I've lost a piece, haven't I? No, I haven't, it's there, look. So again, about 2.5 inches, trim that off, and then trim that about 5. So those are pretty much going to be my pieces, about 5 inches. And again, about 5. I could have just ripped that with my hands. Never mind. Okay, so that's all our backing paper pieces. So I'm now going to start sticking those down. So because this is going to be a little bit of a laborious process, I'll stick some music on and go into fast forward mode. Okay, so that's the last piece of my background papers going on. Well, I know there is a gap there, but that's primarily so that I can actually fold it without worrying about it buckling and creasing. So, but for the time being, that's pretty much how I want it. So I shall just pop that glue stick to one side, and then I'm going to give this a couple of minutes just to set and dry on its own. I'll probably put this to one side and then just give my craft mat a wipe to get rid of any residue of paint that's there before moving on to step number 2. So those bits are pretty much stuck down now, so we can move on to step number 2. So step number 2 is to add a thin wash of white paint or gesso. So I've got out my white gesso from Indigo Blue. So I'm just going to take the lid off, grab a very, very small brush, and then I'm going to just add some of that gesso on the bottom of the page, and then using a baby wipe I'm just going to go over and spread that white gesso everywhere. So again, take a little bit of the white gesso. This will just help to knock those colours back a bit. And also add a little bit of help towards unification of the colours. And you can add as much of this white gesso as you wish. So once it's dry, you could then go back and add some more if you don't think that you've knocked back the colours enough on your art journal page. Or indeed, you could always go back and remove some more with a baby wipe if you think that there's too much. So I'm going to dry that off pretty quickly, and then I'll be right back and we'll decide whether or not I need to add any more or not. Okay, so that's dry, but I want to add a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit more towards the bottom and a little bit more towards the top. And then I'll grab my baby wipe just to add a little bit more blending to that gesso. There we go. I'm happy with that. So all I need to do now is just wash my brush off and get that dry, and then we can move on to step number 3. Just clear that gesso away. So step number 3 is to stamp text or images over your page. Now, because for me, I've already got some kind of text scribbles up at the top, I thought it would be nice to introduce some more. So I have a stamp here, because it's text I need to know which way is the right way up. And this actually is, I think, the first verse from the poem 'Twas a Night Before Christmas, which is ideal for a seasonal page of this nature. And I'm going to use the archival jet black ink from Ranger. And I'm just going to load up the stamp, and I'm just going to add that stamping around the page. Now, I'm not particularly bothered about getting it too perfect because we've still got some of the other steps in which we need to do a bit later on, so it's not going to need to be totally perfect stamping. Just a suggestion in the background. So I think actually I may just do a couple of cross pieces just to kind of give it a bit more depth. Yeah, perfect. So that will do for the stamping. So I'll put that archival ink away, and because this takes a little while to dry, I'm going to give it a little bit of a help with the heat gun, and then I'll be right back. So my stamping is now dry in the background. So next step is to add paint or colour with your fingers. Okay, so for this I have brought out my Dina Wakley Evergreen, I've got my Dina Wakley Ruby, and I've also got some black. Now the reason I've got the black obviously is because a couple of the suggested colours are berry red and holly green. Well, these are almost those colours, but just with this slight addition with a little bit of black paint to them, they probably will go a lot darker and will just tone them down a little bit from being too wowy. So first thing I'm going to do is to add the green. As you can see, I've just put a little bit of the green and a little bit of the black, and I'm just going to grab them both together, and I'm going to start just to mix. Now if you think there's too much, so I may have put too much black in there, so I'm just going to grab more of the green, and then I'm going to start just to apply it around the page. that will do. Dirty fingers, dirty page. Excellent. Almost a hot mess, but not quite. I'm going to get that dried off, and I'm also going to clean this up and also clean my fingers, and I'll be right back. So the paint on there is pretty dry. So I've got some collage elements now, some focal point pieces. Now I have some, just see if I can grab the sheets. I think I've already started to cut them up. I've got some music sheet Christmas tree shapes that I've had, and there's also a snowman on there as well if you wanted to add one, on my website now. This is a digi-download set, and you've got different sizes, so you can use them in different size journals. And like I said, there's also some snowman shapes there as well that you can use to build up some snowmen if you want to. So I've got 3 of the trees, so 3 of those trees there, and I've also, from my stash, taken a photograph or a picture of Father Christmas, which I think is going to go perfect in this art journal. So again, I'm going to stick them down with the collage glue stick. So this is for number 5, add 1 or more seasonal focal images. So let's do the trees first. Get them stuck down. I think that's pretty much everything. About there. I know this is going to go over the crease, so I'm going to need to be very, very careful as to how that sticks, because it's going to pull until it's dry. I will try and sort that out later on. I might even actually cut it and then stick it down independently. So let's get Santa stuck down. We'll go all the way around the outside first, and then just give him a quick whiz into the middle, and then we can stick him down just there. Now I printed Santa off on my inkjet printer, and I've left him, I printed him yesterday, so he's been left overnight so that the ink has dried fully. If you don't leave it to dry, then you start adding glues and gel mediums or whatever over the top of him, the colours may smudge. You can dry him with a heat gun if you want to do it straight away, but I wouldn't just advise printing it and then sticking it straight down. I would give it a little time to dry, either leave it overnight or hit it with a heat gun until you're happy that the ink from your inkjet has dried totally. Okay, so that's the seasonal focal images. Step number 6 is to add some gold bling, so gold paint, so gold flake, gilding flake that is, or gold glitter. So we've got to add some glitter and some gold. Okay, so I will go and grab my flake and a stencil, and I'll be right back. Okay, so for step 6 then, so we're going to be adding some gold flake onto our page. So the first thing to do, I have my flitter glue. So this is from Indigo Blue. This is a piece of what they call fat foam, which is like the cut and dry. And I'm just going to add some of their flitter glue onto this piece of the foam, and as you can see, I'm just gently pushing the glue into the foam. So effectively I'm making a glue pad. So I'm adding glue into the foam, pushing it in until when I push it you can see the glue coming to the surface. So there's enough glue in that pad now. I also have a pot of gilding flakes. So again, this is Indigo Blue Mega Flake, this is Lancashire Rose. So in this, I'm going to be careful when I open it up, you can see that there's some beautiful, beautiful gold. That's better, it's in focus. But there's also some coppers and some browns and some reds in there too. So this is going to add a lovely kind of dimension to the page. He says dropping it. Because my fingers are a bit sticky, I'm already getting the flake sticking to my fingers. All good fun. Now, I have a stencil. This is the Harlequin stencil. It's well loved, as you can see. This is the Harlequin stencil from TCW. So I'm going to just take that foam now, and I'm going to just go through the stencil adding a little bit of that glue. I'm going to do some over here. I'm also going to add some across the top here. Okay, and now I think, to get this in some water before that glue dries, otherwise it's going to be tacky forever. So I'm just going to nip and drop this in some water and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes since I added the glue and I went into the bathroom and cleaned the stencil thoroughly to get rid of all the glue. But as you can see, where it's shiny on the page, that's where the glue was and is. You can still see in that corner there. Now that tells me that that glue is still very much tacky and was still, or is still going to accept the flake. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of the flake and I'm just going to rub it onto the page. Just like so. And you'll be able to feel the glue grabbing that flake. Just very gently rub it over the top. And you'll be able to feel it grab, feel it catch, just as you gently rub with your fingers. When you can't feel it grabbing anymore, it means that you've probably covered all of the glue with the flake. Okay. All we have to do now is just to tap off the excess. Or you can use a brush or just your fingers, like so. So I'm just going to put this to one side for just a second or two, and as you can see I've got lots of that flake left on my tabletop. Now some of it is stuck because I've got residue of glue and that kind of stuff on my tabletop, but it's okay, it will wash off. So I'm just going to get rid of the majority back into the pot now, which I can put away, and what you can see here on my tabletop is literally what's going to need cleaning off. So I'm just going to grab a baby wipe and then I'm going to clean off the rest of this gilding flake before I carry on and do anything else. It says trying to grab a baby wipe from the packet and it won't come out. There we go. So pretty much got a clean workstation again. So I can bring my journal back in, just realign my glass cutting mat. Now I have what they call a scoochie. So this is like a piece of abrasive foam, and what that will do, that will just allow me just to rub over the top of that flake, and that will release and remove any of the flake that isn't attached to any glue. So watch the pattern emerge from here. So did you see how there was a big clump there? But once I've gone over the top using the scoochie, it adds that definition. So again here you can see these diamonds are all like connected together. As soon as I go over the top with the scoochie, it removes that excess and gives you that definition back into your art journal page. Like so. How cool is that? Love it, love it, love it! Okay, so I need to get this bit cleared up. It's a lot of tidying up in this month. So I'll get that done and then I'll be right back. So everything's now clean and tidy, and as you can see my art journal is nice and blinged up. So next step, number 7, is to add journaling, a quote or a phrase. So I've printed out, when I printed my Father Christmas, my Saint Nick, I also printed this little quote off as well. So I have got some scissors somewhere. It says they're all buried underneath. There they are. There they are. So I'm going to cut, I only roughly cut these out previously, so I'm going to just cut these out of the card. And then cut them pretty tight in. I think we can maybe get a bit more off there. Maybe just take a little bit off there and there and there. Okay, now before I stick those down, I want to go around the edge, and I have a gold Sharpie. So this is a gold metallic permanent Sharpie marker. So all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of gold edging all the way around each of the four sides of each of the word blocks, and then I'm going to stick them down just using that collage glue stick that I've used previously. So the last side, or the last piece I should say. Okay, I won't put that away because I probably will need to use it again a bit later. Grab the glue stick and then we can start adding our quote to the page. I keep saying our quote, my quote. You might be using a different one altogether. I shouldn't presume you're journaling along with me. But it would be nice to think that you are. There you go. And if you're wondering, if you recognise the quote but not sure where it's from, it's a Shakespeare quote, William Shakespeare, and it's from The Tempest. People sometimes get it mixed up with Midsummer Night's Dream. It's actually from The Tempest. Or is that me getting it the wrong way around? Anyway, so I'm now, because I didn't like the way that it didn't really show up on the edge, I'm actually going to go around with that gold pen add that little bit of bling. Doesn't look all that metallic, does it? But hey ho. Okay, so add journaling quote or phrase. So I've got my phrase on there now. So then we've got to finish with a border or a frame of my choice. So I'm going to grab a black football pen. So we've got black football, and I'm going to go around. Well, first of all, I'm going to add in some stalks for these Christmas trees. Just to add in a little bit of doodling. Like so, and then I'm going to go around just to add in just ground in a little bit. This is what I like about the football pen. It literally writes on anything, pretty much. But there are other pens that do similar, or pencils that do similar. The Stabilo All pencil is a good one to have as well, because that pretty much helps, or will write on almost anything. It even writes on glass. So and then so there's my border. Now of course I'm not happy with that. The football is going to take a little bit of a time to dry, so I need to blast that with the heat gun, but for me it needs lifting a little bit, so I want to add some little white splatters to that. So call them snowflakes, call them sparkles, call them whatever you want. I want to add a little bit of white splatteriness onto the page before I'm happy. So I'm going to give it a quick blast, get that football dry, and then I'm going to mix up some white paint with my fantail brush, and then I'm going to add some splatters. Okay, so I have white gesso. I've added a little bit of water onto my worktop. I've just got a little water pot here. I'm going to take some more. Just give that a little bit of a mix up. So I've got some gesso mixed with water that is about the consistency of milk. So I'm now just going to add That'll do. I'm happy with those splatters and those couple of runs, just to add in that little bit of extra depth and dimension to the art journal page. So quick blast, quick clean up first. So gesso away, gesso gone. Just quickly wipe off those splatters, and then let's get it dried. On 5, 4. So that, finished with the border or frame of your choice. Actually, that was the end of it. But I'm still not happy. So I'm just going to carry on a little bit with it. Now, I have one of the Signo white opaque rollerball pens. This is the broad nib version. And I'm going to go in and just add in some more white detailing, just kind of to help ground everything a bit more. Just think it needs just lifting a little bit. That's probably just me, but I also want to go back over that border, and I know I've already done it in black, but I now want to do it in white as well, because I think white probably will help to stand out a bit more against that dark kind of red and green background. And of course, it's okay to go back and change it, alter, change your mind, enhance, amend, rectify, and all those other fantastic words. So just quickly go around again, adding in that white border. Now, where's that football pen gone? Because I think that looks better with that white border all the way around. But I want to go around those word boxes too, because I'm not particularly too fond of just that gold on its own, but I think a mixture of the gold and the black just tones it down a bit. That's better. Much happier with that. Cool. So happy with that, so I'm just going to quickly sign it and date it. So I'm going to sign it over this side, and for me it's the 1st of December, and then we just need to go through the checklist. So cover your page with pattern papers, yep, almost disappeared into the background, done. Thin wash of white paint and gesso, good, yep, fantastic. Actually you can still see just in the background up there, look, it's all showing through. Stamp, text or images, yep, we can still see the stamped images all coming through the page. Paints with fingers, yep, did add one or more seasonal focal images, well that's Santa and the trees. Add some gold bling, paint, flake or glitter, yep, we have some lovely gilding flake all the way around the edges. Add journaling quote or phrase, we have the quote from The Tempest from William Shakespeare, and finish with a border or frame of your choice. I have a black and white scribbly doodly border. So we've used we've used red, we've used green, and we've used gold, and we've incorporated the word dream from the suggested words. So I would say that was mission accomplished. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that art journal page. I love that bling. Just look at the way it shines. That gilding flake is just fantastic and perfect for Christmas. So don't forget, if you want to join in the fun with the Mission Inspiration monthly challenges, all you have to do is to visit that link that's on the screen now and also in the description area below, and just ask to join. It's as simple as that. So remember, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, then you can do so by clicking the button at the end of this video. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.